Good afternoon. We're going to get started in about 3 minutes. So we'll wait for a few more people to come on and we'll get started in about 3 minutes. Good afternoon. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. If you look at the chat box, I do have the link for today's slides. It was also posted to the child nutrition website today and sent out by blast, but the link to the slides are available in the chat box. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So it's right after 1 o'clock. I wanted to mention again that we do have the link to today's slides available in the chat box. So feel free to click on that link and you'll get a copy of the slides for today's presentation. I'm Courtney Neubauer. I work with the Division of Nutrition Support, and we are going to talk about some updates. So I love my job just about every day, but today I love my job even more because I get to tell you of all the wonderful things that we have and how much is available for next school year. So it's really a great update. So I'm so happy that we have so many people that are here to listen about all the exciting things that we have coming up. So the agenda for today, we will first discuss the Teacher Leader Summit. We will then talk about the child nutrition emergency cost guidance, the school year 2021 waiver updates. We're also going to discuss P-EBT local level funding for schools. We're going to briefly touch on what we have with the summer 2021 waivers, the state update plan, some training updates, and then other program updates that across all of the programs that we have. So to start, the Teacher Leader Summit. The Teacher Leader Summit is now open to the general public. All educators and administrators across the state are invited and encouraged to join. The 2021 Teacher Leader Summit will take place May 25th through 27th at the Morale Convention Center in New Orleans. Both the Department of Education and the Convention Center are taking measures to promote the health and safety of all participants throughout the week. And you can contact LDOE events at la.gov with questions. The general summit information can be found in the overview document, which is posted to the Teacher Leader Library. This document includes information on the topics below and is updated routinely. Discusses what to bring, health and safety protocols, hotel room blocks, cancellations, refunds, transfers, and exchanges. To maximize the delivery of content and educator development, the Teacher Leader Summit, the virtual series, will take place from June 1st through June 11th. The sessions will be accessed remotely. The format will be similar to the virtual series offered during spring of 2020. There's a max overall registration limitation of 8,000, and the department is not allocating seats. Registration will be on a first come, first served basis. The costs associated with attending the virtual series are on the screen, and session scheduling for the virtual series will begin in mid-May. We're now going to move to talk about the child nutrition emergency cost guidance. The purpose of the emergency cost guide operation, the COVID emergency operating costs, is to provide additional funding for child nutrition program operators whose revenues were decreased or were interrupted during the early days of the public health emergency. This relief is intended to address funding shortfalls. It is not intended to address increased costs due to COVID-19, and the payment formula is tied to the past reimbursements as a result. The funds must be deposited into the nonprofit food service account and be used in accordance with normal program requirements. So they must be spent on allowable costs. The payment formula overview: 55% of the difference between reimbursements from the month of April, May, and June 2020 and the same months in 2019. And then for March 2020, the calculations, the payments are based on half of the 55% of the difference between March 2020 and March 19. Calculations are made on a per month basis. So what this means is we're going to look at March separate from April, May, June. And so if 1 month you may have done better in reimbursement, and that produces a negative number from this calculation, that month will stand alone. So that negative number will become a 0 for that month. And then we would go look at the next month and we'll add up those totals together. So 1 month where you may have more money that you've received in reimbursement for 2020 compared to 19 will not be subtracted from that total. Each month will stand alone. So we will convert those negative numbers in that calculation where you're not going to receive the payment to zeros. The reimbursements are based on meals and supplements served by schools under the National School Lunch Program, School Breakfast Program, Seamless Summer, Summer Feeding, and CACFP. And this does not include other school program reimbursements like fresh fruit and vegetable or other grants like the National School Lunch Equipment Grant. The value of USDA foods is also not included in the payment calculation. The formula terms, we have the reimbursement period, which is March, April, May, and June of 2020, and the reference period of March, April, May, and June of 2021. The alternative period is January and February of 2020. New program operators are considered an SFA that was not yet operating during the reference period of March through June of 2019 for any given month. All other program operators are any SFA that operated during any time during the reference period. So what else do you need to know about the calculations? If the calculations for a given month equal 0 or a negative, then no payment is provided for that particular month. Partially new operators are any school that operated in May and June of 2019, but not in March and April of 2019. We'll use the new formula for March and April, and then we'll use the all other formula for May and June. Also, it's required that there's continued participation. So submission of valid claims for any of the months of September through December 2020, or we will have to obtain an assurance statement that the SFA will file a claim within the first full semester after the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. State agencies must submit an application and an implementation plan to utilize these emergency funds. The implementation plan must include the total SFA count to receive payment, the estimated sum of the payments, and the process to disperse the payments. Some key dates: February 25th, 2021 is when the initial application was due to USDA. LDOE submitted our plan on February the 10th. The second important date is May 10th, 2021. That's when the implementation plan is due to USDA. LDOE submitted our plan on May the 3rd. June 30th is the USDA recommended date to begin the disbursement of funds to SFAs. September 30th, 2021 is when all funds must be obligated to program operators. And then by January 31st, 2022, all funds must be distributed. USDA has published initial guidance and questions and answers regarding the Child Nutrition Program emergency operating costs. And that was released in January. You can refer to memo SFS 21-83 for more information. USDA also released additional implementation plan guidance and questions and answers to the states in March. We did have a full training on the emergency cost guidance last Tuesday. That training is posted to the Louisiana Fit Kids website. So if you're wanting to refer to the entire update on the emergency cost, you can refer to the Louisiana Fit Kids website, and I'll show you where to find that. Let me pull up their website. So if you go to Louisiana Fit Kids and go to training and then training slides, it'll pull up some of the trainings that we've had most recently. So hurricane preparedness, production records and whole grains. And this next one, child nutrition emergency operating costs during COVID-19. There's the slides for that presentation. And also right here, if you click on video, you can watch the recording of that training. And the same thing for these other trainings listed here. So all the ones that say video are recorded, and you can watch those in addition to reading the slides. The school year 21-22 waiver update. So this is the really exciting information that we have coming. So I know last week we kind of bombarded you with a blast of about over 10 different waivers that have come out from USDA. And reading through those, since it takes a minute to look through and say, what exactly is this saying? So we're hoping that the next few slides will really help you understand as to what exactly is allowed in school year 21-22, and kind of a little bit of what the process will be. And we will provide more of that information as that information is made available to us. And then also as we get a good game plan for the online application moving into school year 21-22. So the first waiver is waiver response number 84. And this is simply a cover memo that announces the new suite of waivers for school year 21-22. This memo provides a great overview of all of the additional waivers that have come out. So please read this one. This one gives you a really good idea of what these waivers are meant to do. But the goal of these waivers are to increase funding, support access, and balance operational needs with the goal of providing nutritious meals. This next list is a list of all of the waivers that are discussed in that waiver number 84. So we have the nationwide waiver to allow seamless summer option through school year 21-22. The waiver to allow the summer food service program reimbursement rates in school year 21-22, the waiver to allow non-congregate meal service in school year 21-22, the waiver of meal times for school year 21-22, the waiver to allow parents and guardians to pick up meals, the nationwide waiver to allow specific school meal pattern flexibility, the waiver to allow specific meal pattern flexibility in CACFP, the ability to not require offer versus serve for our senior high schools, the waiver of area eligibility for after-school programs and for family daycare homes, the nationwide waiver of on-site monitoring requirements in school meals programs, the waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements for state agencies and child nutrition, then child and adult care food program, and the waiver of the monitoring requirements for sponsors in the child and adult care food program. So all of these waivers, we're really excited about them and how can we elect to opt into these for next school year. But just know that these waivers will be available for opt-in when the new school year application is released. So it's a little too early to make the decision and truly opt into these, but you can absolutely continue making plans knowing that all of these waivers will be in place. But the waiver opt-in for this particular suite of waivers will be part of the online application for the start of school year 21-22. So we will not have those available for opt-in just yet. So just know that is coming, but they're not available just yet. So our opt-ins will be part of the child nutrition program application, and it'll be the new school year application for school year 21-22. So they are not listed on any of the waiver opt-ins on the website right now, nor will they be available until that new school year application is released. But you can make plans knowing that these waivers will be in place for next school year. So the first waiver is the waiver to allow the seamless summer option through school year 21-22. And this is child nutrition response number 85. And the effective dates of this waiver are July 1 through June 30th. So that's the entire school year. And this waiver allows for the National School Lunch Program seamless summer option to operate when school is open during the regular school year. And all meals under the seamless summer option will be claimed at the free rate regardless of location. And so this is the program that this is allowed is the seamless summer option. And do note that only 2 meals can be served under seamless summer. So that would be breakfast and lunch. After school snacks would be served under the National School Lunch Program, after school snack program, or CACFP at-risk meals in school year 21-22. So at this time, USDA has confirmed that only breakfast and lunch would be served through the seamless summer option. Any after-school snacks would need to be served and claimed through the traditional National School Lunch Program or CACFP. The waiver to allow the summer food service program reimbursement rates through school year 21-22. This is child nutrition response number 86, and the effective dates for this waiver are also the entire school year. And this allows SFAs that operate Seamless Summer to claim the meals and snacks at the summer food service reimbursement rate. So what this waiver means, so if we think about Seamless Summer, and I know for most of our school systems, they may not have operated Seamless Summer. So other than the few months that everybody moved to Seamless Summer in March through April or May of last year, there may not be a whole lot of experience with Seamless Summer. But Seamless Summer is meant to be an extension of the National School Lunch Program. So it is meant to look just like the National School Lunch Program, including the reimbursement rates. So it is meant to mirror the National School Lunch Program and be available when school is not in session. It also has the flexibility to allow for area eligibility, where all meals are served at the free rate, which is what USDA did with the first waiver, waiver number 85. So it allows for Seamless Summer to be served in place of National School Lunch, and for there to be the ability that all meals be served at the free rate. Well, that waiver would then allow for the meals to be served at the free National School Lunch school breakfast rate. So what this second waiver does, waiver number 86, allows for the higher rate of reimbursement, the reimbursement rate of the summer food service program to be used when serving and claiming meals through the Seamless Summer in school year 21-22. So for those of you that are familiar with the summer food service program, you'll know that there are two rates. There's a low rate and a high rate when we talk about summer feeding. And the question is probably, which rate are we going to select? And at this point, we can't answer that. So we have directed that question to USDA and are waiting for a response. So at this time, we don't know if there will be one rate for all summer food service, so whether it be the low rate or the high rate, or whether it will be based on the mode of operation, so whether it be a self-op versus a vended model, or whether it be rural versus urban. So we are not sure if that's going to come into play, or if there will be one rate for breakfast and one rate for lunch, but do know that is a question that we have asked. But that is what these two waivers are meant to do. So the question that also comes up is, what about summer feeding? So is summer feeding an option in school year 21-22? And the answer is no. So summer feeding, as we've seen for this school year, is not available for school year 21-22. Seamless Summer better positions schools to serve more nutritious meals. And the reason why is because the meal pattern for Seamless Summer aligns with the National School Lunch meal pattern. It doesn't align with the summer feeding meal pattern. So this allows for schools to serve meals more like we've seen in traditional National School Lunch. So what options are available to schools in school year 21-22? There are two. The first one is the Seamless Summer option with the SFSP reimbursement rates. And the second is traditional National School Lunch and school breakfast program with the National School Lunch school breakfast reimbursement rates. So the question may be, well, why would I select? What is the benefit to one versus the other? And in all honesty, Seamless Summer, when you're following the National School Lunch meal pattern and you're getting the higher reimbursement, there isn't really a whole lot of reason to select to stay on the traditional National School Lunch meal pattern for breakfast and lunch. All meals are served free under Seamless Summer, and you're getting more reimbursement for each of those meals. So if you want to discuss particularly one versus the other for your particular system, please call us. But generally speaking, the benefits of moving to Seamless Summer for school year 21-22 will definitely, the benefits are greater for doing that. And so the question we often get is, what about summer? Like, do you need to move to Seamless Summer now versus doing it when school starts? And no. So what you should plan for doing this summer is just what you intended to do for summer before you saw these waivers. So you can extend your summer feeding application to include summer feeding dates and to operate summer feeding just as you had planned. And when the school year comes around and we open that school year application, just as we do every other year, at that point, you would then transition or could transition to seamless summer. And we would then align all this with the school year. So for the summer, plan as if you didn't know these waivers existed for next school year. Make your plan for the summer using, traditional summer feeding, or if you do opt into some seamless summer during normal years. But these new waivers should not necessarily be a factor in your decisions for summer, for this summer that we're in right now or moving into. So do note that I've already mentioned that only 2 meals can be served under seamless summer. So that would be breakfast and lunch. So the after school snacks would need to be served under National School Lunch or CACFP in school year 21-22. The next few waivers that we're going to discuss are waivers that are meant to promote operational flexibility. And these are the non-congregate meals, the mealtime flexibility, parent guardian pickup, offer versus serve flexibility. And USDA has stressed that these waivers should be used only for the duration and extent that they're needed. So if your kids are back to full in-person, there is probably not a need for some of these waivers. Where if there are school systems where there are still lots of kids that are attending school virtually, there may be more of a need for these types of flexibilities. Offer versus serve, that one's a little bit different. If you're still serving in the classroom, then it makes it more difficult to have offer versus serve be available for high school kids. So you can use these waivers and make those decisions individually based on your needs for your particular school situation moving into school year 21-22. So the first waiver of this list, the waiver to allow non-congregate meal service. This is Child Nutrition Response number 87. This is intended to be used for the entire school year or for the duration that it is needed, but it is available for the entire school year. And this removes the requirement that meals must be served in a congregate setting and must be consumed by participants on site. And this particular waiver is available for National School Lunch School Breakfast Program, Seamless Summer, and also CACFP. The next waiver of the mealtime requirements, this is Child Nutrition Response number 88. It's also available for any duration needed for the entire school year. And this allows meals to be served outside of the standard meal times. So do note that we still require that you have meal times. So you must, designate what your meal times are, but it doesn't have to be within the standard meal times that are specified in regulations. And the programs that this is allowed for is National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, and also CACFP. So I included this next slide, which is the delivery of meals to homes. So delivery of meals to homes is not a waiver per se, but it is basically the combination of the non-congregate waiver and the mealtime flexibility, which allows for the option to provide meals through delivery. So those two waivers together allow for this to be something that is okay in child nutrition programs. And do note that the sponsor must obtain written consent from households of eligible children that the household wants to receive delivered meals. And we do have to approve all delivery plans prior to providing meals to homes. The next waiver, waiver number 89, is the waiver to allow parents and guardians to pick up meals. This is also effective for the entire school year. It allows for children to not be present and allow their parents or guardians to pick up meals. The sponsor must still ensure program integrity. The sponsor needs to have a documented process in place to ensure meals are distributed only to parents and guardians of eligible children and that you're not serving duplicate meals. The program that's allowed is the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program, Seamless Summer, and also CACFP. The next waiver, the waiver to allow offer versus serve flexibilities for senior high schools. This is response number 92. The effective dates of this waiver is also for the entire school year. And this waives the requirements for senior high schools to participate in offer versus serve. So we know that under the National School Lunch Program, offer versus serve is optional for all age grade groups and for both breakfast and lunch, except for our high schoolers at lunch. So high schools, 9th through 12th grade, must have the option they must have the flexibility to utilize offer versus serve at lunch. And that's part of regulation. So what this waiver does is allows for that to be strictly a flexibility. So you don't have to do offer versus serve for high schools. It allows it as an option, so you absolutely can do it, but it's not required that you have this offer versus serve available for high school. So you can make this, if you're serving meals in the classroom, and maybe you're doing prepackaged boxes, it may be very difficult to have a student select using offer versus serve. So you may be putting all the items in the box. And so what this waiver does is allows that to be an option for you, even with the high school students, which typically have to have the option to decline items on the line. So this is allowed for both National School Lunch and Seamless Summer. So since Seamless Summer is an extension of National School Lunch, this same ability for offer versus serve would flow into that program. So that's why it's for both National School Lunch and Seamless Summer. This next waiver is the waiver to allow specific school meal pattern flexibilities. And this is response number 90. And the effective dates of this waiver are a little different. So it is October 1st, 2021 through the end of the school year. And this waiver, with justification, specific meal pattern flexibilities can be waived to allow program operators to serve meals that may not meet the nutrition standards. And this is for the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program and also Seamless Summer. And the reason why this waiver has a start date of October 1st is because the Child Nutrition Response number 74 already includes a mealtime flexibility in Seamless Summer through September 30th of 2021. So the mealtime flexibility in waiver response number 74 is a little bit broader than what's included in number 90, but the goal for next school year is to get as close as you can to serving the traditional National School Lunch meal pattern for your students. So the specific school meal pattern flexibilities that are included in this particular waiver are the sodium requirements, that grains offered must be whole grain rich, preschoolers that they must have at least one serving of grain that is whole grain rich, that you offer a variety of vegetables from the vegetable subgroup, that you offer a variety, at least 2 different options of fluid milk, that low-fat milk must be unflavored, and to plan menus and offer food components for specific age grade groups. So this is kind of a lot of things included in this particular waiver. Do note that states will consider approval on a case-by-case basis, except for sodium. So the sodium restrictions, the requirements to follow those sodium restrictions, this is included in this waiver. And USDA has said that that can be more of a, there may not be as much need for providing justification for the need of that particular flexibility. The rest of them, they want there to be approval on a case-by-case basis. So, if you're looking at this list, grains offered must be whole grain rich. So we know that in the prior school year before COVID-19, we had 50% of our grains being whole grain rich. So you may have a lot of additional non-whole grain products that you need to use. So, having this in your storeroom and needing to use it would be justification for asking for that particular waiver. if you have already submitted your bid documents and you've gotten bids back on some non-whole grain items, expecting those flexibilities that you had before COVID to still be in place, those were things that we're looking for justification. But the goal is to move to following the meal pattern as close as possible as we proceed through this school year. One of the other things on the list, plan menus and offer food components for specific age grade groups. So we know that we have K-5, 6-8, 9-12, or a combination of a K-8 meal pattern. And so it may be difficult when you're serving meals in the classroom to meet these meal patterns, especially for high school kids. And that's all, 1 cup of fruit, 1 cup of vegetable, maybe a lot to put in a box. And so if your model for next school year is serving meals to kids in the classroom, you would want to include something like that on your meal pattern waiver for next school year. But the goal is that there is some thought into why you would need these particular flexibilities. And we would have to look at on a case-by-case basis. So we're really wanting to get as close as we can to following the National School Lunch Meal Pattern and asking for only what is needed to support our meal service model into next school year. The next waiver, the waiver to allow specific meal pattern flexibilities in CACFP. This is response number 91, and its effective dates are for the school year as well, which is a little bit different, knowing that CACFP operates on a different calendar than school lunch. So typically it's October 1 through September 30th, and the school year is typically July 1 through June 30th. But these waivers are all in line with the school year, even the ones that support CACFP. So this waiver allows for very specific meal patterns for the child nutrition program for CACFP nutrition standards. And this is strictly for our child and adult care food program. The specific requirements that are waived, that at least 1 serving per day of grain must be whole grain rich, that crediting of grains by ounce equivalents must be fully implemented by October 1st of 2021, and that low-fat milk must be unflavored. So, this is specific for CACFP, but if you're operating at risk, that falls under CACFP. These are the flexibilities that could be asked for and approved based on justification. For most of our school systems, we're already used to using ounce equivalents. So that's probably not something that we see much of an issue with, but some of the daycares may have been struggling to get to that standard. So it just depends on what the individual sponsor needs to support the meal service, but we are going to approve these on a case-by-case basis. The next waiver of area eligibility in the after-school programs and family daycare homes. This is child nutrition response number 93, also for the entire school year. This allows for schools and at-risk centers to claim all meals and snacks at the free rate, regardless of location. And it allows for family daycare homes to claim meals at the tier 1 rate, regardless of location. So programs allow, this is for National School Lunch, after school snacks, and also CACFP. The after school meals enrichment requirement has not been waived. So the enrichment component is a requirement for service of after school snacks or suppers. Guidance has allowed it to be digital if necessary. Enrichment activities should include options that are accessible to all participating children. The next waiver of on-site monitoring requirements in the school meals programs. This is child nutrition response number 94. The effective date of this waiver is July 1 of 2021 through 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. So this waiver allows for the on-site portion of the administrative review to be conducted through off-site means. It also allows SFAs to conduct the on-site monitoring, the monitoring that's required as before February 1st, to also be conducted through off-site means. The end date to this waiver is 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. So when does this waiver end? Your question, your answer, I have no idea. So it depends on the end of the public health emergency. So if the federal government determines that the end of the public health emergency ends up being January 1st, then 30 days after that, we would have to begin on-site visits. And same thing for SFAs. So if whatever date is determined by the federal government, then 30 days after that, on-site visits of schools would have to begin. Do note that this waiver does not require you to do off-site monitoring. So if you feel it is safe to do so, we strongly encourage you to still be on site at your sites. And then also on our part, if we can also still come out and do on-site visits if those are deemed to be necessary, but this is an option that allows you to do those visits off-site until 30 days after the end of the public health emergency, which could be a few months from now, could be the entire school year. At this point, we really have no idea when the end of this emergency will be. The waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements for state agencies in the CACFP. So Child Nutrition Response number 95. The effective dates of this waiver are October 1, 2021, through 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. So same thing here, looking for 30 days after the end, whatever that may be. And the reason why its start date is October 1 is because there's already an on-site monitoring waiver that is in place through September 30th of 2021. And this allows for the on-site portion of the monitoring requirements by state agencies to be conducted off-site, and it is strictly for CACFP. The USDA has released off-site monitoring fact sheets, which provides clarity regarding existing requirements. It assists state agencies, SFAs, and sponsoring organizations with developing off-site review processes. So they're linked here. So when you look at the slides, this link will take you to USDA's fact sheets, which are very helpful. Questions and answers regarding oversight, administration, reporting. So USDA did recently release some questions and answers regarding oversight, administration, reporting. Program operators may be operating very differently and at different times than traditional operations. So this document includes questions and answers that are intended to provide clarifications to state agencies and program operators regarding the oversight and administration of the child nutrition programs. And we did post this. This is SFS 21-X155. This next one is a very new memo. So that was actually posted this morning. And so this memo, it's the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2021, the effect on child nutrition programs. So this memo provided notice to child nutrition program operators regarding section 743, 764, 767, and 789 of Division A of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, which allows for the substitution of vegetables for fruits under the school breakfast program. It prohibits funds from being used to procure raw or processed poultry products from the People's Republic of China in child nutrition programs. It provides guidance related to pricing of paid lunches for the National School Lunch Program during school year 21-22, and also allows the offering of low-fat 1% flavored milk in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. This is memo SFS 21-X162, and this was posted this morning. The next waiver, this is an older waiver, so this is not part of the new suite that just came out, but this is the waiver of community eligibility provision deadlines. This is child nutrition response number 82. And the effective dates, this waiver came out on March 26th, and it is intended to go through September 30th, 2021. And this waiver extends deadlines related to CEP reporting and elections during COVID-19. And this is for NSLP. So the question you're probably thinking, well, if I'm planning on going to seamless summer, why do I need to do the CEP elections? And it is still required. So you must still submit population data and elections for CEP, even though we know that next year many school systems will move to the seamless summer option. So the deadlines, the community eligibility provision deadlines have been extended. This waiver makes the following adjustments to the annual CEP deadlines. So typically our data used to calculate ISP is as of April 1st. This waiver allows it to be any time between July 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. The notification, so when school systems must submit that information to us, is as of June 30th, 2021. The notification is as of June 30th, 2021 for both state agency and LEAs, and final elections are due as of September 30th, 2021. So SFAs need to submit the population data form and CEP worksheet through the child nutrition website. The ISP can be calculated using data drawn anytime between July 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. And by September 30th, SFAs must make the final election regarding CEP participation for school year 21-22. And if you need to make changes, you can resubmit the population data form at that time and then make the elections based on updated numbers. And the ISP may be calculated using data drawn anytime between July 1st and June 30th. So the population data form and CEP worksheet, they are now open on the CMP website. We posted memo SFS 21-X157, which has instructions on filling out the forms. And even though SFAs may be operating seamless summer in school year 21-22, and all meals will be free, the CEP population data form and the CEP worksheet must be completed. Also included a slide on clarification on CEP grace year. So a SFA or school in the 4th year of CEP with an ISP of less than 40%, but greater than 30%, anytime between July 1st and June 30th can continue participating in CEP for 1 grace year. This gives you the opportunity to restore eligibility status without immediately resuming standard counting and claiming. Reimbursements for school and grace year are based off the ISP of any time between those dates. So the grace year is not a continuation of CEP at the previously established ISP. So this is just something to remember as you're making CEP elections going forward. I do encourage you to select CEP elections as if you were to use these in school year 21-22. So make elections that you're comfortable with if this is what you would be using in future years. So we don't know if next year will produce better numbers than they have this year or similar or even worse ISPs. So make decisions, as if you were using this into next school year, even though you are more than likely going to be free because you're selecting to use the seamless summer option. So P-EBT local level funding for schools. So this is new. This is exciting. There will be a memo coming about this tomorrow, but this is very new information. So all of you, 142 of you that are on right now, this is brand new information. So we know that P-EBT is meant to provide supplemental food assistance benefits for students who have temporarily lost access to free or reduced price meals. And to be eligible, a school campus has to meet all the criteria. So they have to be a provider in the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program. If you're operating a summer program, but would traditionally be doing National School Lunch, then you're still eligible. And you have to be closed or have reduced in-person learning hours for 5 consecutive instructional days in this school year. And then from there, students are determined to be eligible under certain criteria. So they have to be enrolled in one of the schools that meets the eligibility requirements, and they have to be certified for free and reduced price meals in the current school year. So that's an overview of P-EBT in general. And we know that because, you know, we saw P-EBT last school year. And so we're gearing up for this next school year as well. So P-EBT local level funding for schools. So in addition to the benefits that are awarded directly to families, USDA has made funding available to program operators of the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program who are responsible for activities related to fiscal year 2021 state pandemic electronic benefits transfer. So LDOE is responsible for providing funds to schools who feel like they qualify for this reimbursement. So fiscal year 21 P-EBT are P-EBT activities that occurred between October 20th, 2020 and September 2021 in conjunction to P-EBT benefits that were issued for school year 2020, 2021 or summer 2021. And so before we go any further, as a state, we saw P-EBT in school year 1920. So that's what we all remember doing through the months of May, June, even into the start, even in August, we did the second opening. Those were benefits related to school year 1920. The activities related to those benefits are not included in this local level funding reimbursement. So all of the activities related to P-EBT benefits of 1920 are not included in this particular funding opportunity. So the funding, this particular funding is available for school year FY 2021, which is meant to be from October 20 through September 2021. As a state, our FY 21 P-EBT application, USDA has just recently approved that application from DCFS. So what I would expect is that we're going to see gearing up of P-EBT for FY 21 over the next few months, but there's probably not at this time a whole lot that has been done to support the activities of P-EBT for 2021. So as we talk about this, just kind of try to not think about P-EBT activities from what happened in FY 20, which was what we saw in June and even in August, and think about the fact that we are still gearing up to issue benefits for FY 21. So districts that operated seamless summer option or the summer food service program in place of traditional national school lunch, due to the COVID flexibilities, may still be eligible. This funding was made available under Section 721 of the FY 2021 COVID Relief and Response Act. So this is where this is coming from. So eligible expenses are not limited to specific school departments or units. Examples of allowable reimbursable costs under this grant include limited salaries of personnel, equipment costs, system costs, support services or contract costs, supply costs, or other indirect costs. And SFAs have to keep a record of the P-EBT incurred costs at the local level. And you will then have to have that documentation made available for audit by OIG, LDOE, or USDA. So like I said, this is meant to be FY 21. So since we haven't had those benefits that have been issued out, there's probably little work that has been done to support that. But as we gear up, if you can see the need for a staff member to answer calls related to P-EBT when that starts to gear up, do know that that's something that could be attributed to this particular grant. So thinking through this, you need to have documented, solid documentation to support these funds. So it may be something a little bit that you're, a forethought of what's going forward and your plans for the end of the school year, even the summer, as we may start issuing those benefits versus what are you doing right now, what has gone back in the past. But if there is something that you feel like you've done related to FY21 that has very solid documented information, then you may be able to submit that with this first opening of the grant. So unallowable costs are costs that are not necessary or responsible for the administration of FY21, and there are expenses that are already reimbursed under another federal award. So you can't charge two funding sources for the same expense. So you can't charge both USDA P-EBT funding and the child nutrition grant funding for the same expense. And costs incurred for FY20 P-EBT benefits, which were issued over the summer of 2020, don't count. So that's where most of us remember doing P-EBT benefits, and that was previous fiscal year. So to receive funding, schools must submit the P-EBT administrative cost application to LDOE through our online CMP website. And we are collecting applications in two intervals. So the first one is May 2021, and then again in August 2021. So the first deadline, May 28th, 2021. So according to USDA, this has to be the first interval has to be May. So this period is meant to cover October 1 through May 31st of 2021. And we will begin reimbursing schools in June of 2021. And all requests made in this initial round, we have to receive those by May 28th of 2021. The memo for this is going to go out tomorrow, and the website is available for submission if you do feel like you have some expenses that could be coded to this particular grant. And then just know that any funds not requested in May can be requested in the second collection in August. So as we're gearing up for P-EBT and knowing that that's coming in the next few weeks, months, there may be things that you want to do that could be reimbursed through this in the August collection, but you may not have done that just yet, knowing that at this point, the work that is done, a lot of it has been just a survey. Maybe you've been planning something, knowing that this is coming, and so you've been working with your software team or something. But if there's not good, solid documentation, then I would not submit that for this particular grant. But do know that there will be a collection period in August that you may have more that you could dedicate to more expenses that would be dedicated to this particular funding source. So to receive funds, you must submit the administrative costs application. We are collecting that in two intervals, like I said, May 2021 and August 2021. And our second submission will be in August 2021, and the exact date is to be determined. And the requested amount for August should include any expenses that you expect to expend through September 30th of 2021. So you will have to project a little bit for the last month of the fiscal year. And then we will start reimbursing, we will reimburse schools by September 30th. So how to submit the application. The first collection is on the CMP website. So cmp.doe.louisiana.gov. On the green sidebar, there is the P-EBT application, and you can submit that to us. And like I said, we will be posting a memo on this as well. It should go out tomorrow. So now let's shift to summer 2021 waiver updates. So the waivers that are still in place for summer 2021 the mealtime, the meal flexibilities, the non-congregate feeding, the parent pickup, area eligibility, meal service time restrictions, the offer versus serve flexibilities, area eligibility for closed enrolled sites, and the waiver of the first week visit. So these waivers are intended for summer 2021 only. So seamless summer or summer feeding can be used as the summer program only until school starts. And then once school starts, SFAs cannot use SFSP during the regular school year. They would move to seamless summer if that's the option they want to select. Our oversight plan, so as you all know, reviews were postponed. So the question of what's going to happen in school year 21-22 for reviews, I have no idea. So we're still waiting on that kind of guidance to know what we'll be doing in 21-22. But participation in the technical assistance cohorts was mandatory. And the CNR staff is reaching out to SFAs that may not have met all of the cohort requirements. So do note that participating in those cohorts and listening to the sessions were required. So if you did not attend one of them, you need to go back and listen to the recording. Training updates. All of our trainings are on Louisiana Fit Kids. You should complete a questionnaire and evaluation afterwards. You also will receive a follow-up email confirming attendance, training hours, and USDA codes. The registration for all of our May trainings are open on Louisiana Fit Kids, and then I've already showed you how to reach the training slides and recorded videos, which are also on the website. Upcoming trainings, so we have the procurement series training on May 11th. We also have the SFSP review training on May 25th, and this is for any SFAs who are up for a summer feeding review in summer 2021. On Thursday, May 27th, procurement series, the overview of the procurement. And you can refer to Louisiana Fit Kids to register and also see memo SFS 21-X150. Manager training. Directors can request manager training for their SFA or a combination of SFAs. It's no cost to the SFA, a minimum of 10 participants. It can be virtual or in person. The schedule can be customized. You can register at the link on this slide. You can also see memo SFS 21-92. And if you have questions, you can contact Melissa Campbell. Summer manager training. So summer virtual manager training will be offered. You can register through Louisiana Fit Kids. The training dates, we have 2 sessions, June 14th through 17th or July 26th through 29th. The assessments will be conducted online. Participants are required to be proctored by the Child Nutrition Program Director or his or her designee. The school system must ensure that there's a location available, such as a computer lab, that will accommodate test takers and allow for adequate supervision. And you can refer to memo SFS 21-X112 for more information. There's also some new team nutrition materials. So there are team nutrition school meals resources, team nutrition CACFP resources, and also team nutrition summer meals resources. And you can refer to memo SFS 21-X114. Other training opportunities, we have the CN Resource Learning Library. Also, all of our trainings are recorded and posted to our website. We also have team nutrition resources that were posted yesterday, memo SFS 21-X159. Other updates, so P-EBT, DCFS recently asked for you all to submit information through a survey about your school sites and the operations. To ensure all qualified students for this school year are reached, DCFS plans to implement P-EBT by utilizing direct certification through data matching, allowing the direct issuance of benefits to eligible households. So this right now, that's the only data request that has been sent to school systems, but I would expect in the next coming weeks or months that additional information will be coming as we gear up for the FY21 P-EBT issuance. School food authorities should continue to accept free and reduced priced meal applications throughout this current school year, so school year 2021, at all non-CEP schools. So although you may have transitioned to summer or seamless summer, meal applications may be establishing eligibility for P-EBT. And I also expect that it will be encouraged in school year 21-22, although that particular guidance has not yet been received. So regardless of operational status, you should still be conducting direct certification, and the SNAP file was made available as of yesterday. eScholar update. So we are working closely with eScholar on a project that will improve the matching system, and this will go live for school year 21-22. The improved system will allow schools to match student enrollment data against program records, and the updated system supports multiple programs, so SNAP, TANF, foster care, migrant. We also will have DC extended and manual matching. And so our testing is beginning now, so more information will be coming very soon. Income eligibility guidelines. So USDA has released the income eligibility guidelines for 21-22. And this is the guidelines for free and reduced price meals. And that is memo SFS 21-X108. Our pre-approved equipment list is still available. So it was updated earlier this year. You can see memo SFS 21-87. And if the equipment is not on the list, then you must complete the pre-approval form and submit that to us at childnutritionprograms@la.gov. Procurement. So on April 27th, Governor John Bel Edwards renewed the state of emergency for COVID-19. So this proclamation is extended through May 26th of 2021. And just note, as the state begins to reopen, you should return to following standard procurement guidelines, as the suspension of procurement standards may not be included with future emergency proclamations. So as we're moving toward the state being more open, I would expect to see less of these flexibilities start being allowed. So start making plans as we move forward. The deadline for food service management contracts. So the deadline is May 31st, so the end of this month. Please refer to memo SFS 21-86. And the SFA will not be approved for participation in the summer food service program as of July 1st, 2021, without the approved contract. SFA's contracting for goods may include a provision in the original solicitation that states they reserve the right to add goods to an existing contract if specific conditions are met, and that is memo SFS 21-X132. CACFP at-risk programs during the summer months. So the intent of CACFP at risk is to provide care to at-risk school children during after-school hours, weekends, or holidays during the regular school year. The program is only able to operate while school is in session. The CACFP at-risk program must end when the school year ends, and that is memo SFS 21-X153. The fresh fruit and vegetable program can also not operate during the summer months, can only operate until the end of the official 2021 school year. The data sharing agreement and addendum, if you have not submitted that, it is now past due. All LEAs must opt in to the data sharing agreement that was executed by LDOE and CN Resource. The deadline was originally Friday, April 30th. We have now indicated today a final deadline of May 14th, 2021. If you do not submit this document, it could jeopardize participation and reimbursement in the National School Lunch, School Breakfast Program, Seamless Summer, and Summer Food Service Program. And that most recent memo was posted today, SFS 21-X163. We have roughly about 60 that are still outstanding. Please submit that ASAP. So May 14th is right around the corner. We've got the end of the school year coming up. You're super busy. So please get that submitted as soon as possible. It is absolutely imperative that you get those in. We have adopted the use of the USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form, which is on our website. This is in compliance with USDA's civil rights laws. You need to provide this form to all of your schools and sites and tell them how to use it. And this should replace the previous discrimination complaint form. Also, you need to make sure that your staff is notified of the procedures that will be followed for complaints. And that's memo SFS 21-X120. We've also released another document, the Civil Rights Complaint Procedures for School Meals, School Child Nutrition Programs, which provides the procedures that you must complete and follow for handling civil rights complaint. This document is for your records and must be kept on file. We don't need a copy, but you should download it, fill it out, and it needs to be adopted by all SFAs that are operating child nutrition programs. And that's memo SFS 21-X121. You need to go in and revise operating calendars if meals were not provided during school closures or if meals will be served over holiday breaks. And this applies to all programs, so summer feeding, seamless summer, and also CACFP. And meals and snacks may be offered on holidays consistent with the regulations for summer food service, seamless summer, or CACFP. Summer operations. The 2021 SFSP online application is available. Guidance is available for SFAs intending to extend the summer food service program into the summer months. So those are memos that are posted to the website. You can contract with a vendor to provide meals. We have a list on our website. You should also begin communicating with LDH regarding permits for non-school sites. We've also posted the summer food service tentative review schedule, and you need to make sure that you are reviewing your waiver selections and making selections for SFSP operations. So many of the waivers that have been selected may have been back in the beginning of the school year or maybe in January, and things have changed. Things have completely become different from what you may have done before. So please go in, review your waiver selections, and update those as needed. Adding non-school sites to the SFSP. So for any ongoing non-school site being proposed, so that's one that's not just serving at non-holiday times, you need to submit a JOT form for each of those proposed feeding locations. And the new site information sheet can be found on our website. Seeds to Success. So this is a website that it's a partnership between Louisiana State University Ag Center and the Department of Education. And Louisiana schools are eligible to receive classroom gardening materials and access to web-based growing guides and engaging lessons, all designed to integrate gardening into classroom and at-home learning. Teachers are able to sign up to receive seeds and greenhouse seed starter kits via the Seeds to Success website. and those will start being issued back out in the fall. There's also lesson plans incorporating the Seeds to Success. There's also a Facebook page, so I have absolutely enjoyed looking at all of the wonderful pictures of produce that schools are growing across the state. So it's really been incredible what's happened so far this year. So hopefully in the fall, we'll see more schools wanting to participate, but it's really been a great program thus far. So it provides educational websites and growing guides. So if you haven't been to the Seeds to Success website, I encourage you to do so. There's some really great information on there. Like I said, they also have a Facebook page. You can find more information on Seeds to Success, the Seeds to Know, and also in the Louisiana Harvest of the Month is available there as well. Turn Up the Beat. So this recognizes outstanding summer meals program sponsors who work hard to offer high quality meals. Sponsors who used USDA waivers in response to COVID-19 are eligible, and nominations are due to the state agency by September 10th. And you can see memo SFS 21-160 for more information. This was just posted this week, and it's really, please complete the application, submit that back to us. We would love to have more of our sponsors recognized for the great job that they've been doing. School Lunch Hero Day. So tomorrow is the big day. So May 7th, 2021 is School Lunch Hero Day. And if there's a year to celebrate school lunch heroes, it's definitely this one. So it's been quite a year, and our teams have made it to May, which is huge. But we really want to honor the 2021 School Lunch Heroes. You can send Kathy Carmichael your photos, stories, quotes, pictures, and anything you want to share, and they're going to highlight those on the Louisiana Fit Kids website and share on social media. So Kathy's email address is on this page, kathy.carmichael@pbrc.edu. And then you can visit them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or just on their website. And like I said, I think this is a wonderful year to celebrate school lunch heroes. So I think we all have a bunch of schools full of them right now. So we really want to see all the great things that are happening to support our kids with COVID-19 with our school lunch heroes. So please send that information in. Oh, okay. I have now been talking for 1 hour and 15 minutes with hardly a breath, but if you have any questions, please post those in the comments. I know we've run over, it's a lot of information, and I'm having a hard time figuring out what to cut and what not to cut so that we can get all the information out to you. So please put your comments in the chat box, and I will do my best to see what we can do to answer those. Okay, the first question that we have is about seamless summer and after school snacks. So after school snacks will be a part of either traditional national school lunch or CACFP. Seamless summer will only cover breakfast and lunch. There's another question about whether you can apply for CACFP while operating seamless summer next year, and the answer is yes. So seamless summer, when it's used in place of national school lunch, school breakfast in the school year, you can operate the after school snack or CACFP at-risk meals during that time. The question about what sodium target are they to follow. So if you can meet the sodium target, it would be target 2. If there's no waiver in place, but if we intend to have that flexibility of sodium be available with little justification for this next school year, knowing how difficult it is to meet the sodium requirements. Okay, there's a question about the memo for the Consolidation Act, which was slide 40. Does it apply to seamless summer or just National School Lunch School Breakfast Program? So the seamless summer is an extension of National School Lunch. So any of the rules that fall under National School Lunch apply to seamless summer as well. Yeah, so there's a question about whether or not we'll provide a training on P-EBT local level funding. And so, yes, the goal is to do a training specifically related to local level funding. As soon as we can get that together, we'll definitely try to shoot for next week to see if we can have it'll probably be pretty brief. There's not a whole lot of information, but we can do something specifically on that. Just as a reminder, P-EBT is on the fiscal year, so that is October 1 through September 30th, which is why the time period that we're talking about is the current fiscal year. And we have not at this point issued any P-EBT benefits related to that particular fiscal year in Louisiana. So it is coming. So I think that this is a good time for us to plan ahead, because I do think that will happen in the next few months. And you'd be able to submit that for that second time frame, but you may not have anything for May. But if you think you do, feel free to reach out and we can talk through that and make sure that we have the appropriate documentation to support the use of those funds. And the FFEP program does operate on the fiscal year as well, so October 1 through September 30th. So when you stop your fresh fruit and vegetable for the school year, you can start that back up when you return to school. So when you go back to school, you can definitely return to serving those fresh fruit and vegetable fund, using the fresh fruit and vegetable funds that you have for FY21, but you just cannot do it when school's not in session. So when you stop in say May, you can start back up in August and do that for August and September using the same funding allotment. If you have particular questions about whether or not we've received your data sharing agreement, just send that question to our email address and we can double check that. And we would be happy to look into that for you. So for P-EBT, direct certification would mean any child that is an identified student, as well as for free and reduced priced meals. So yes, you would count children who are eligible through SNAP, TANF, foster, migrant, or direct certification, or who qualified for free and reduced through an application. So we're the option to elect seamless summer for next school year will be part of the school year application. So we will see when you fill out your normal new year application, so policy checklist, schedule A, income and expense, those forms will also have the ability to opt into and complete the seamless summer waiver. We're still working through the exact process of what that's going to look like. So we're working on that, but it will be part of the online application for the start of the school year that you would complete every other school year. So it'll be in that with those same groups of forms. So at this point, we don't have any information about school year 2021-2022 administrative review. So we're still waiting on that. We know last year they said that reviews cannot be conducted if the schools were not on National School Lunch, School Breakfast. With now the move to Seamless Summer, which is an extension of National School Lunch, I don't know what their plan will be. So we're still waiting on that. They said that they are working on guidance for administrative review. So at this point, we do not know exactly what that will look like. So CACFP, you can operate that, CACFP at risk can operate during the regular, only when the regular school year is operating. So if you're operating it as at risk, then it's only when the regular school year is in place. Daycares that follow traditional CACFP, those are year-round centers, so they offer meals year-round, and that's not under the at-risk. That's the way that the program is designed, so it's year-round. So the slides for this session, the link went out this morning through a blast, and it's also available on the it'll be available on the Louisiana Fit Kids website later on, as well as this recording. I'm also putting the link to the slides on Louisiana Believes, so you can access that as well. And then I don't know about verification for school year 21-22. Not really sure. Traditionally speaking, with Seamless Summer, applications are not required, so we would not traditionally see applications, but there has been a push to collect applications to support P-EBT benefits, so I'm not really sure what that would look like going into next school year. Feel free to throw any other questions in there that you may have, trying to get as much as we can answered for you. So federal regulation does require that direct certification be performed at least 3 times per year. We do make the updates available monthly. There's also additional requirements, to how often a CEP school has to do direct certification. So monthly is a benefit to reach more kids, but by federal regulation, it is 3 times per year is what required by federal regulation. So we have a presentation that's being finalized right now with an overview of what Seamless Summer is. So when that'll go out through blast, when that is posted to the website, it's going through a final version of being up. It's going to be updated right now, but we'll definitely get that out. There are a lot of school systems that have very little experience with Seamless Summer. The main thing to remember is that Seamless Summer is an extension of National School Lunch. So if you know the National School Lunch program, you know Seamless Summer. So that's the main thing. The main difference for this year is that everybody is free. So everybody's free. You're getting a higher reimbursement if you're operating Seamless Summer, but you're basically still operating what you would see as a traditional National School Lunch. So similar meal pattern. Of course, there's some flexibilities, but very similar to a traditional National School Lunch. There's not really additional regulations specific to Seamless Summer. You're falling under the regulations of National School Lunch. It's just a very small piece, and it's basically considered to be an extension of the school year. But we are posting a presentation in the next coming days or week to get you information on Seamless Summer. Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank y'all for coming. I know this one was kind of long, so an hour and a half to go over. There's a question about paper products, so and using dishwasher. So we don't have any I mean, you can use paper products. You can use, your plates that you're running through the dish machine, your reusable plates. As long as your dish machine is working and like it's supposed to, then that would kill anything on those plates. You can use those, but additional funds to support the use of paper products, there isn't any of that, but you could potentially use money you receive from the emergency costs to support those increased costs that you may have used, or you could use the higher reimbursement going in the summer to kind of help support some of those operations. But there is not an additional funding source to help with the cost of paper products. So, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead. We'll sign off, and thank y'all for coming. And I'm sorry that it took an hour and a half, but I really felt that there was a lot of information and wasn't quite sure where to cut information. So wanted to make sure you got as much as you could. So please reach out if you have any additional questions, and we'll look forward to talking to you in next month.